restraining orders does the waitress have
A
one?
lot, dude. I mean, she's been irritated with me.
She's like, you got me fired from the Oldies Rock
Guys.
Cafe. You're gonna get me fired from the coffee shop.
This is incredible. You gotta listen to this message. Come here, seriously. This chick is so in love with me, it's crazy.
Hi, Dennis. It's Kaylee. I was just calling to let you know that I hope you die.
Super Flag Bros.
You are obviously a terrible person with no regard for anyone but yourself. I never, ever want to see you again, you steaming pile of horse shit. Go to hell!
Bro, that's amazing.
Division 6 Podcast.
Oh, guys, I have a system, a foolproof system for getting any chick's undying love and devotion for life.
With D's Delaries
And once we're on my bed, it is game over. I engage her physically, and the sexual waltz begins.
and P's Delaries.
Smooth. Very, very smooth stuff. Very classy. I'm learning a lot from you right now, dude.
Okay, now, once you've had sex with the woman, she will naturally start to depend on you, okay? All women do this.
They certainly do. You got that right.
Women.
Once you bang them.
Like that. Right. Which brings me to the first N. Nurturing dependence. You're going to want to nurture.
We are live in this Super Flag Bros. Thank you everyone for tuning in. For those of you just tuning in now for the first week, I don't know where you've been all season. I don't know how you follow the league, but in that case, I am, of course, P's Delaries. I am joined in studio by the Chinese dictator himself, D's Delaries. You can follow us
At Dictator.
at Dictator, also at Dave's Republic. You can also follow me at P's FPF.
But it's spelled Dick Tater.
Yeah, like tater tots.
Yeah. Delicious.
And then, of course, we are at www.theunclemikeshow.com. You'll know that, of course, if you're watching live, we are in Coast to Coast Studio. Our eagle at Master Control is scrambling to get all the playoff picture together as we start the show. If you want to tweet the show live, you have questions, comments, thoughts, insults, feel free to tweet them at EagleFPF. We will read them live.
Yeah, especially insults.
Especially insults.
Especially the
Especially if
insults.
they're vulgar. I like vulgar.
Are we allowed vulgarity on this whole program?
One way to find out. If we're back next week, then yes.
But are we allowed to say wiggle dog?
Yes.
Are we allowed to say no? Penis?
Pinot, but
Pinot.
PNES in this game was wax on, wax off, coming to sort of a wiggle dog of a game. They tie Beast Mode 25-25. Beast Mode seems to be a team that's getting better week in, week out, whereas wax on, wax off are sort of tailing off as they look to be one of the stronger teams to start the season, now looking to struggle somewhat as the season goes on. We see in this game particularly Jordan Bellemare struggling to get the ball to any receivers not named Amore or Gray. Was that it? Alex Gray?
Alex Gray, yeah.
And so 10 catches for Danny Demore, 5 for Alex Gray. So this leaves me with two questions. One is, what's wrong with Wax on Wax On's offense that they can't really get it to anybody other than Danny Demore, especially in the end zone. And then the follow-up question is, Beast Mode. Can't you figure out that you got to guard Danny Demore?
Okay, so let's start off with the first question. I'm going to forget the second question.
All right.
But the first question, first of all, I just want to say this is their second tie of the season. I don't think I've seen, I can't remember the last time that a team tied this much. With only a couple of games left in the season. I think it's going to end up screwing them over, I think, a little bit.
Ties are the kiss of death in
They really are.
football.
They really are.
Luckily, in Division 6, a lot of the teams make the playoffs anyway.
We
but
have
it will
lobbied-
affect them in terms of
We
seeding.
have lobbied for tiebreakers.
Only you. Because everyone else understands that we have the field for a limited amount of
I
time.
don't care about that. We should have an XFL styled tiebreaker where you have two guys charging down the field, and whoever gets to the ball first wins the game.
And everyone knows the XFL had a very interesting format that worked well and lasted very long. Longevity was what the XFL was based on.
Danny Demore, right?
Yeah.
So we can't put this all on him.
But that's it. Wax off. He's putting it all on him.
It is him, yeah. And I think the offense is centralized on one specific player. That being said, I don't think this is really... It's tough because it's not like they allowed a lot of points. It's not like they scored too much either. I mean, Jordan scored through 4 touchdowns. It's like what we're always saying, that you got to get more than 3 touchdowns to win a game.
I would say 5, by the way.
5, yeah, or whatever, but it's just
Especially
like,
in the playoffs.
it's not that they did anything good or bad. I think it's more that Beast Mode was just there. They're more present in the game, and it's like we always say, and 60 minutes, and it's not 60 minutes.
It's 22. It's 44
minutes
and
and
10 plays.
whatever. 44 minutes and 10 plays.
It
It's,
amazes me that you've played for 11 seasons and don't know that.
I always think it's 60 minutes.
Sure.
My whole life, I think it's 60 minutes. The TV show.
You think your life is
Yes.
a news serial?
But more importantly,
Divided into segments?
More importantly, I think that coming up, both between Wax On Wax Off and Beast Mode, they're both going to be coming up against tough opposition. They're both playing 6-2 teams next week.
Yes.
Wax On Wax Off playing against Sunbros, which I like to call them Sunblock because they're a really good team. I find
That's an odd way to put it, but yeah, sure.
Sunblock.
Sure.
And also, Beast Mode is going to be taking on Mean Machine, also at 6-2. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this pans out for the, how this pans out, realistically. In terms of standings, though, what's pretty interesting is that these are two teams that really propelled themselves. I think that Beast Mode propelled himself forward. That really put them above the cut line, which they were kind of close to a few weeks ago. Whereas Wax On Wax Off,
They repelled themselves, so to speak.
Yeah, and at this point, Wax On Wax Off will make the playoffs. We know this, but who are you going to play? Who do you want to play in the playoffs?
It's going to affect seeding, definitely. And of course, like, they had a tough win against Balls Deep. Prior to that, they were winning games well in hand. They had two big blowouts, and then 2 weeks now that they've struggled. So do you think this will continue? They face Sunbros and then part of my swag in the next 2 weeks. No gimme games.
No, not at all.
So like, do you think they'll affect them in the next couple of
No,
weeks?
I don't think it's going to affect them. I don't. I have faith in them.
All right, and for Beast Mode, like you said, they're sort of rising up through the ranks.
They are.
Not a team we talk about a lot.
No, we don't ever.
But they've been particularly interesting. Olivier Gauthier in this one particularly, catching 2 touchdowns on 3 of his catches. The defense, again, how do you not cover Danny Demore when you see he's the only one catching the ball, basically?
Yeah, but then again, like, at the end of the game, like, they only allowed a certain amount of points. It doesn't matter how well one player does. It's about how your cumulative defense plays, right?
True, but do you think that had they taken Danny Demore away, they could have come out with the win, or do you think that would have been a detriment in that they let Danny Demore do what he wants and then you just shut down the rest of the team?
It could be that, or maybe they just had no idea what they were going up against. Because like we always say this with Danny, like, he doesn't look like much when you
Skinny
see
white
him.
kid.
Skinny white kid. With a scruffy neck beard, whatever. The thing is,
By
when
the
he's
way,
playing,
the
he's a
neck beard.
baller. He's a pure baller.
Once
when
the
he's out
neck
there.
beard reaches 7 inches
Yeah.
long, it becomes a mark of wisdom.
It's
Prior to that, it looks like a mark of homelessness.
but he's getting into Danny. If you're listening, shave your beard.
Danny Love,
People will actually wait. Maybe that's his thing. Maybe he wants the beard to grow so no one thinks, hey, that can't be him.
Yeah, I'm not
Probably
going
a
neck
filler.
beard.
Probably a filler wearing his
Exactly.
jersey.
Exactly. No, I agree 100%.
Oh yeah, and one last thing I want to say
Go
also,
for
going back to Beast Mode, they have a very underrated player on their team, Maxime Turpin-Lalonde. The guy has nine interceptions on the season. He's really flying right under the radar.
Yeah, and
I mean,
he's
when we were
definitely
talking about
gonna be
defensive, when we're talking about defensive star in the league,
He's a front runner at this
he's
point
up
for
there.
defensive player of the year.
No, not front runner.
Well, 9 interceptions is a big season.
interceptions. Yeah,
If he has a season with 10, 11 interceptions,
But we
it's a big deal.
we also have a rusher that has like something like 30 sacks or something this season.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll get that in another time.
In our next game, we have flagrant
What's
fouls.
he doing? What is he doing? He's not even paying attention. He's clicking when he shouldn't be clicking. Eagle, you got to pay attention, dude.
It was beautiful.
All right, so we have flagrant fouls beating Obamacare 34-31. Not caring much about social welfare, of course. The flagrant fouls winning this one. This was an interesting game for me. I thought this could have been the one that knocked flagrant fouls off the top. Flagrant fouls, of course, being the featured article on the website for about 9 days since someone else has written an article, which reminds me I should probably put one out soon. That being said, they're deserving of all that press because they are still undefeated after this win. Are flagrant fouls really that good, or are they this type of team that's going to dominate in the season and then get to the next level competition in the playoffs and lose first round?
No. They're really legit. These are two legit teams. This was just a really, really good matchup. This was kind of what we expected. We didn't think that it was going to be a game. It could have gone 2 ways. It could have been really, really defensive, a lot of interceptions, or it could have been a lot of touchdowns. And And in a sense, it was a very offensive games. You had basically 10 touchdowns in one game. That's just
fun.
it's a fireworks show. And what's important to kind of point out is that like flagrant fouls, to me this was an important win because they didn't just rely on Marty Friedman. You know, they could have easily just centralized their offense on him. But instead, it wasn't. He had a good game. I think he still had a touchdown. But generally speaking, I mean, this was a team win. This is definitely a win that's really important because it shows me that they're not just a one-trick pony. That they do have a depth to the team, and they have a very, very efficient and very smart quarterback. I see Ross Olshansky also, quarterback of the flagrant fouls, really propelling forward, and also kind of beating a team that I've been saying for a long time would be come out the victors and champions of Division 6, and I've been saying that.
They still might. I don't know how a rematch would go because this was a very close game.
Very, very close.
And one thing is, much like we were talking about in the previous game, another guy who's fairly unguardable for very different, with a very different skill set is Andrew Hopkins. Andrew Hopkins is a really big, not skinny white dude. He's the most.
When you say not skinny white dude, please elaborate.
He's tall and muscular. He's just a freight train.
Mismatch of the century against me in our game.
Yeah, in our game against Obamacare, we had the brilliant idea.
When I think of our producer Eagle matching up against Andrew Hopkins, I kind of see a squirrel stuck to someone's leg. You know, just kind of like holding on for dear life.
If the squirrel was really short, like for a squirrel, then yes. But that being said, Andrew Hopkins, it hasn't even mattered who's guarded in this season. In this game, pulling in 129 yards as a receiver is absolutely foolish.
He has 13 touchdowns this season, and what's crazy, and this is just a side point. He's actually not leading. You know, he's not very far behind, but he's third in terms of touchdowns this season by a wide receiver, which is crazy to think because when you see the guy play, you think, this guy's definitely a superstar. But ahead of him, just before anything else, Jonathan Grizzly and Danny DeMore are ahead of him. But anyway,
both are higher division players, though.
Yeah, but I think by the end of the season, Andrew Hopkins will. I have a feeling he's going to end the season with maybe about 18 touchdowns.
Yeah, I have a feeling as well. No, he's absolutely.
He's a boy playing amongst men, and I've said this.
I think that's the opposite of what you mean is men playing amongst boys.
Men playing as boys.
Yeah. You got confused with the 1990s R&B band Boys to Men. Yes, and Eagle, if you could play us out to break later with some Boys to Men, that would be awesome.
Yeah, he won't because he sucks.
I know, because he's a terrible producer. Jordan McInnes getting better and better each week. This was an awesome matchup between Jordan McInnes and Ross Olshansky, two interesting quarterbacks.
Two of the best.
And they both play a similar style in that they both like to move within the pocket, throw it deep, take advantage of having good athletes on their team. So in a rematch of this game, what do you think will happen? Do you think Olshansky has the chance to prepare and come out and really give it to Obamacare, or do you think Obamacare and Jordan McInnes the second time around saying, you know what, I know they can't cover a guy like Andrew Hopkins, and I'm going to use my talent.
I think it's going to be.
How do you think that kind of game would work out?
I think it's going to end up in a very similar score because I don't think that there's a specific way to prepare against either team. I think that they're both very, very strong everywhere. But honestly, like what I do like about Jordan McInnes, and it's such an underrated fact. Like when we look at quarterbacks, we tend to look at their touchdown interception ratio. I don't care that Jordan McInnes
not
has
mine
11,
ideally,
but I don't care that Jordan McInnes has 11 interceptions because I think that for me, I see him as a quarterback that's complete and he's willing to take risks in the game and trying to get the ball into position to win. And that's not taking anything away from Ross and a Ross Olshansky, quarterback of the flagrant fouls. But when I see Jordan McInnes, I see a guy. He's a very complete quarterback. And I think that I could see him really, really competing in any division that he plays in because he knows where his strengths are in his team, where it lies. In this specific case, it's Anthony Hopkins. And going forward, look, Anthony Hopkins had 130 yards with this game. He had NFL numbers in this game.
Yeah.
And no kidding, I think that he would have the same production because I don't think there's anyone that can really cover him in our league.
Oh wait, are you saying he had the same production in the NFL?
Let's
think you're overestimating his talent somewhat.
Let's go with it. He would have 130 yards in the NFL as well.
Okay, that's
Probably not.
interesting. I'd have to beg your pardon on that one.
But he's
Speaking of
built. He's also built like an NFL receiver. Too.
Nope, he's way too small, which is remarkable because he's a huge dude.
But I'm also very short, so tall people tend to look a lot taller. So
Part of my swag beat Orange Crush 25-24 in a much closer game than we could have predicted. Came down to converts. Brad Evans putting up 4 touchdowns, and really what was key was his experience and knowing how to complete converts. We have Chris Manna on the other side. OC seemed to have solved the quarterback issue somewhat, and he threw three touchdowns on his end. The other touchdown was actually Andrew Dennis Lynch taking back an interception, probably one of the fastest and least
Very
talked about players
veteran,
in
yeah.
our division. But is Chris Manna the solution for Orange Crush long term?
well, it's always tough to say long term, especially now where we have the summer season coming up and there's going to be more chance for teams to get practice in and whatnot. But I think that by surrounding himself with guys like Andrew Dennis Lynch, do we call him Andrew Dennis Lynch or do we call him Andrew Lynch? We just call him Lynch.
Well, his name is Dennis Lynch.
Let's go with D Lynch.
The Lynch
80 Lynch.
The Lynchmeister?
No, we're not doing that. We
he's
don't
the worst.
we don't meister names here. This isn't 2003.
But definitely, I think it's a very interesting addition to a team that needs a veteran presence. You know,
Who are we talking about?
I
I asked about Chris Manna.
I know.
I asked about Chris Manna.
We're getting there.
I don't know if we're getting there. There's no guarantee.
We're somehow gonna get there. I'm taking a rowboat there, slow way. It's tough to say whether he's the answer or not. But I think that this is nonetheless a confidence builder of a game. Like, they came into this game playing against a division leader or close to a division leader. Really almost pulling out a win. If they would have won, this game would have been the upset of the century, I think, for Division 6.
Century.
Yeah.
For Division 6. Why not? For Division 6 of this season, of this week. It absolutely would have been the upset of the century.
I think I would have held it against them for throughout the whole season if they
sure.
Because I do want Orange Crush to do well, and I want them to make the playoffs even if they're really out of it.
There's not really a chance for them at this point. But that being said,
well, I don't know because there's 2 games left. No, there isn't because no. There's 2 games left. Even if they were to win the next 2 games,
it'd be tough.
Tigers already have 2 games on them.
Exactly, and they have that tiebreak they have that head-to-head tiebreak if I'm not mistaken. So Chris Manna, like I said, I like what he's done so far. What I would say this to Orange Crush is, guys, you've had more quarterbacks in the past couple of seasons than the Miami Dolphins did in a period where they had like 15 quarterbacks since Dan Marino retired.
Pat White?
Let's not talk about Pat White ever again on
That was a Bill Parcells.
That was a Bill Parcells mistake, unfortunately. But guys, honestly, you don't get better by continuously changing quarterbacks. Have one, decide on one, sign him to a multi-year contract if such a thing is possible. What you want to do, if you can, kidnap his family members. And hold him as ransom to make sure he comes back.
But I get that.
I'm not condoning kidnapping. I'm just saying it's an option.
Okay, so to be clear, you're not condoning kidnapping.
I may be condoning kidnapping.
Are you okay? Well, look. Before anything else, also their quarterback situation. There were some issues. There was some vacation time with one of the guys, so it's not like they
I get it. But like they didn't start the season with him, even though they knew he was probably a better option at quarterback. They also have.
But it's tough. It's tough to come by. It's tough to come by quarterbacks, and especially when you're Division 6 with no reputation. Try getting a guy, into your team to pay for a full season.
They did have Yannick Dostin last season. So and when we can you bring up the game before I go to break so I can finish talking about it?
Sorry.
Thank you.
Very salty today.
Well, he's not doing his goddamn job.
You are the salt of the earth. You're also a very salty person.
We apologize for this technical difficulty. The technical difficulty is we need a better producer.
I'm sorry that you're very salty as a person.
Absolutely. So part of my swag, what I want to talk about in this case was how good do you think they are?
They're good. I keep and the thing is I keep trashing Conference B in the sense that I always say that I always feel like they're kind of like not at the level that Conference A is, and I think that this game itself, and I don't want to take too much away from them. They do have 7 solid wins this season. They're definitely going to come out of Conference B or at least win a couple of playoff games. But at the end of the day, when I measure up both conferences, I don't know. I find that they're strong, but not as strong.
In a conference measuring contest, you say conference B would be weaker. Honestly, part of my swag, I'm gonna probably get some hate from Sean Collins, as I always do after every show.
Of course, yeah.
And when I comment about him killing a pizza guy, the thing is that I don't see it. I think there's just like they're a Division 6 team with a Division 1 player on the roster, and they're not blowing teams out.
They're not.
They have an experienced quarterback, and they're not blowing teams out.
But they don't need to blow teams out either.
That's fine, except it's not going to work in the playoffs. You're not going to be able to skate by lower teams that way. I think this is a team that's going to be one and done in the playoffs. We're going to cut the break very soon and come back shortly. When we come back, we'll talk about why you look like a 1970s upholstered couch, as well as what's going to happen heading into the playoffs and our predictions for this coming week.
Calling the Audible has been brought to you by the English Montreal School Board's DEAL program. Distance education for all learners will allow you to obtain your high school diploma or prerequisites for CEGEP or vocational studies from the comfort of your own home. It's never too late to go back to school. Learn anywhere at your own pace and get your diploma. Call 514-788-5937 for information or visit www.distanted.ca for more details.
Welcome back, everyone. You are listening and watching Super Flag Bros. I am joined in studio with Deez Delaries. You can, of course, follow him at Dave's Republic or at
the Grilled Cheese Sandwich Deluxe.
At the Grilled Cheese Sandwich Deluxe. Remember, if you like grilled cheese, make it deluxe. And if you like podcasts, you're definitely watching on www.theunclemikeshow.com. Tune in later, and he has guests at 9 p.m. tonight.
No, he's got Shaquille Finn.
No? Oh yeah, he's got Shaq Finn this week. That's true.
I played against that guy. He is a boxer, but the dude when you play against him, like he's really good at evading you when he gets around. Like he's
somewhat like a boxer,
right?
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Jab and weave.
And it's always impressive to have a guy on your show who Mama actually told him to knock you out. My name is Peas, and I can be followed at Peas.
Don't ever follow me. It's the worst follow.
You can also follow me to the shadier parts of town. You can follow Eagle at Eagle FPF if you want to.
Or his mom's house.
Yeah, you can fall into his mom's house. She's wonderful. She makes an excellent tuna casserole.
I'm saying because he lives in the basement.
That's true. I'm not his own home. He lives in someone else's basement, which is an interesting story.
Your parents hate you so much they have you living in a basement. I know it's not actually your parents, but that's not.
Someone else's parents hate him that much. That being said, if you want to tweet the show live and ask questions and just participate in the show, remember this is your show, so feel free to do so by tweeting at EagleFPF. Playoffs are upon us.
Playoffs. I love playoffs.
Playoffs? Nice. That being said, for some teams, it looks a little... playoff picture is sort of starting to get hazy for them, while others, it starts to get clearer and clearer with each passing week. Right now, the standings are Part of My Swag, The Mean Machine, Sun Bros, Wax On, Wax Off, Diablos, Beast Mode, Balls Deep, Team 4th and 20. Those are the top 8 in Conference B. And then in Conference A, we have Flagrant Fouls, LA's Finest, Wolfpack, Obamacare, NWO, Zhangyi, Mountain Goats, Smoke and Axles.
But don't you find in Division A there's a lot more top-end talent, I think? No?
Conference A reminds me of Humpty Dumpty. A lot of top-end talent, but it's provided they don't fall off the wall.
What you're trying to say is if they fall, they're going to crack.
Right? I don't. I just thought of something that was top-heavy. Because I figured that's why he fell in the first place.
That's a terrible analogy.
Yeah, it didn't
He
work.
fell because he has no base. It's rounded at the bottom.
See, that's what I'm saying. Conference A has no base. It's rounded at the bottom.
So much
whereas Conference B, I think it'll be the more exciting playoff bracket.
Oh, it's definitely going to be a lot more exciting. I think the games are going to be a lot closer in Conference B. But I think for Conference A, it's just like we know that the top 4 teams are going to excel and the bottom 4 teams are just going to be cannon fodder.
Absolutely, and coming in March, of course, is the Fly Plus tournament, the only tournament with the name March Madness, I believe.
Is there actually a tournament coming up?
The playoff tournament.
But there's also a March Madness coming up. So
yes, that's what I'm referring to.
I mean,
by March Madness, you clearly mean the FPF playoffs.
If I'm not glued to my basement television.
And I think it's exactly that. I think Conference A will be sort of March maddening for the lower teams and lower ranked teams, and March Madness because it'll be absolutely insane for Conference B. I think 1 can lose to 8. I think 7 can lose to 2. The Cinderella stories will absolutely come from this conference.
From Conference B.
Yeah, Conference B.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I pointed to the piece of paper that nobody can see. So thank you for clearing that up.
Can you get up the playoff picture up? Producer.
1827.
I swear to God. I swear to God.
Yeah, so well, I want to look at some of the bubble teams actually, because week in week out we look at possible matchups, but they change each week. But let's look at some of the bubble.
Let's
teams.
look at your team, Pocket Watch.
Yeah, let's start with Pocket Watch, who should probably start winning a game now and then. Would be helpful. And when I said Pocket Watch, I wanted our producer Eagle and Master Control to bring up Pocket Watch on the screen. Remember how I stalled by reading all the rankings? I figured that would give him enough time to prepare.
Let's talk about Pocket Watch. So you lost this week.
We lost this week
and
to
sucked.
NWO.
And you sucked.
I did suck.
So explain how you sucked.
I kept throwing the ball to the other team.
That's terrible analysis.
Absolutely. No, honestly, NWO was...
how do you feel about your next game?
Have I finished speaking?
Nope.
NWO, I want to give them credit. It wasn't just my ineptitude. They're much better. They've grown by leaps and bounds every season. I'm so happy to see this team doing well. That being said, a look to the future. Pocket Watch faces TMNB.
The Ninja Mutant Manids.
Awesome. M isn't for ninja, so maybe you want to go with Minja, if that's the real thing. So TMNB, they haven't won a game, so hopefully Pocket Watch gets to win here and sneaks into the playoffs.
What happens if they don't win though?
Who?
GM takes over as QB.
GM takes over as QB in week 10.
Is that going to happen?
And Peace gets 12 catches.
Okay, but can we make a bet now, since 3 of you in the room? If you guys lose the next game, GM has to be the quarterback.
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
And Eagle is going to be going to be the ball.
You're going to hold the ball first.
So all right, so this is agreed on, right? Live, right?
Agreed.
Be quarterback if you lose.
Yeah.
Okay. Next game. Next people. Next team.
And then in the final game, Jim Collapsus will be quarterbacking against Zhangyi, which will be tough because they're actually very good defense.
Yeah, they're very good defense.
Honestly, it's tough for me to pick my own games, but I mean, hopefully Pocket Watch will win against TMNB, and Zhangyi will be a tough matchup, but I think both matchups are going to be low scoring, and so therefore it favors Pocket Watch because we don't score a lot of points and we do have a good defense. So that's what I'm hoping on. For the next team on the bubble, we look at the Minj, who did get a win this week against Tigers. in a somewhat controversial manner. This game was called a forfeit. The game ended at the time. Tigers were winning 6-0, and then due to a heinous and violent act, which you can read about in my Division 3 article, as well as in a final segment tonight, Tigers forfeited the game and Minge won it 30-0. With Minge facing off against LA's Finest or Wolfpack, is that their last sniff at victory? However,
it's really tough because they're tied with smoking axes.
Axles.
Yeah, I'm gonna call. Yeah, I told you from the beginning of the season. I'm gonna call them axes. Smoking axes.
But there's like a three-way tie.
It is a three-way tie.
Pocket Watch, Minge, and Smoking Axles.
The Minge have the toughest schedule coming because they have to play LA's Finest and Wolfpack.
Yeah.
So I don't know, and also the fact that last game they didn't really have a full match because it was a forfeit. So
exactly.
I don't know.
What about Team NB?
It's tough to say because it's not tough to say. They haven't won a game yet, so they don't have any chance to get into the playoffs.
Absolutely. No, it will be tough. You haven't won a game.
Absolutely.
You haven't shown that you can do it, right?
Yeah.
And then even at that, with 2 games left, you're looking at tiebreakers,
Agreed.
which is always somewhat of a roll of the dice. In Conference B, the Tigers now at 2-6.
That forfeit was terrible for them because it really put them out. I don't think they realized how terrible that tie was. How terrible that forfeit was.
Given the apologetic letter from the captain to the President Rob Campana, which in their defense did show a lot of class for the rest of the team, I would say they do realize how big that is, especially losing a game that way. They face Orange Crush and Goon Squad to end the season, so they do have a chance.
They do have a very favorable,
very good chance of sneaking in,
which is funny because it's weird how they end up playing the end of the season for them is the two teams below them, right? Like that's how it's kind of a poetic finish for them.
And then if you look at Orange Crush, they do face Tigers now, as we said. They also have to face LA's Finest. So I think for Orange Crush, I think these are just two really bad
4-20.
Two really bad matchups for them. And
4th and 20, which is just above the cut lines to play Obamacare and balls deep. So I feel like what may happen I think Orange Crush does have a glimmer of hope. If they're able to pull out 2 wins,
I don't think they're gonna get 2 wins, and they got to beat Tigers, who I think are a better team. Tigers have an easier schedule, so even if they don't beat Orange Crush, they can still win a 3rd game.
But imagine it.
And Team 4th and 20, who are they playing again?
Team 4th and 20.
They're playing Obamacare and they're playing
Wolfpack, I think, right?
No,
it was
Balls Deep.
And Balls Deep is a winnable game. And then finally Goon Squad at dead last in the division.
No, not a chance. We're not going to waste time on that. But what I'm trying to say is that because they're at the bottom, they have no chance of making it.
They do have a chance. They got to beat Tigers first of all. That would give them the head-to-head. It would still be tough.
No, there's no chance.
Yeah.
Especially but considering the schedule, considering what Orange Crush has to go through, what I'm thinking is, and this is a really, really bold prediction right now, but I think that if Orange Crush can pull off 2 wins, they can definitely get us right. They can definitely get right through to the playoffs, and it'd be interesting for a team that at the beginning of the season we wrote them off completely.
Absolutely, it is everyone's favorite time.
See how I was stalling the last segment.
Absolutely, you always make the show go over because you don't want the segment to happen. This is, of course, Science Hour with Duke. Every week I take a scientific concept, I throw it at you, you define it, and that becomes the new definition for the actual scientific term. This, of course, is a childhood game that we created when we had way too many, let's call them juice boxes, and started to ask ourselves many, many scientific questions and other questions.
We started drinking juice boxes too early.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm really paying for it now.
Italian weddings are known for having many juice boxes flowing. All right, and this week's Science Hour with Duke is a question, is a topic in from Eagle at Master Control. He has null pointer exception.
Oh God, null pointer exception.
Null pointer exception.
Okay, well, let me read this out.
Why do you need to write it? It's already on the screen.
Pointer.
You're very analog in your ways.
Okay, so if I'm gonna go with just the complete meaning of it, according to what I think, I look at 3 words, right? Null, pointer, exception. Null means not working. Pointer means you junk, so the junk's not working. And the exception is that it's not working, but this time it is working. So what I think it comes down to is It's Viagra. Viagra is the null pointer exception. It's when your junk's not working. You take it, and then it becomes the exception.
So you're saying Viagra is the generic term like Kleenex, but null pointer exception is actually what's used to treat erectile dysfunction.
Erectile dysfunction. Like basically, you come home and your girlfriend's like, it's like, baby, what happened? Like, you're supposed to have a null pointer, and you're like, no.
It's the exception. That is absolutely no pointer exception. That is the new definition.
Viagra.
I can't wait to put these all into an article and hopefully one giant soundbite for the end of the season.
I hate you so much. I hate you so much.
Honestly, our parents are now regretting having spent tuition money on you.
I really hope they're not listening to the podcast.
Yeah, it'd be terrible.
They ask me every week. They're like, "Are you being good?" I'm like, "No, not really."
Yeah, we're trying, but
we're trying.
Let's do some quick picks. And then we'll close up the show. Team 4th and 20 facing off Obamacare. Tell me who's going to win in a couple sentences as to why.
Wait, hold on. I was 4th and 20 Obamacare because they are going to win the championship this season.
And they're going to win this week because
they're awesome.
All right, Balls Deep versus Diablos.
Diablos are on a run. Definitely doing really well on the up, so they're going to win this game.
Mean Machine against Beast Mode.
Beast Mode is interesting. We thought they're on the up. They're definitely, they tied a game against Wax On Wax Off. You figured this would be the game for them, but Mean Machine, they're a 6-2 team, really good, and I just can't see them losing this game.
I say Beast Mode looks like they're getting better each week. Mean Machine haven't looked the same in weeks, so I'm gonna say Beast Mode. Tigers, Orange Crush.
Orange Crush. I think this is a big victory they need to have in order to get to the playoffs.
I will say Tigers because I believe them to be a better team and they have been playing that way. Orange Crush still has too many unsolved mysteries, so to speak. Part of my swag against Goon Squad.
Part of my swag, I would like to see Goon Squad win a game, but I can't see them winning this week against Part of my swag.
I agree. Jean-Guy, Mountain Goats.
Jean-Guy, but it's going to be a really close one. I think they're barely going to make it out, but they definitely can't. They can't afford to lose games right now.
I think this is going to be one of those awkward wins for Mountain Goats. We don't really understand what happened. That's the kind of game they excel at. So we say Mountain Goats. I say Mountain Goats. Pocket Watch, Team NB.
Well, I hate you, so I'm not going to choose you. So fair. Team NB.
I can't pick my own game, so I say Pocket Watch. The Minge against LA's Finest.
LA's Finest. Unfortunately, the Minge are just not there this season, and this is definitely a season for LA's Finest.
Yeah, they look very good week in week out. So I would agree. Sun Bros versus Wax On Wax Off.
Sun Bros, they're definitely on. They're on a progressive trend to be the best team. They're doing everything they can. They have 6-2 record, playing very well. And no, I don't know if Wax On Wax Off is gonna. I think that tie that this week is really gonna affect that.
Flagrant Fouls versus NWO.
Flagrant Fouls. It's really tough to find a game plan that's successful against Ross Olshansky. I have a hard time saying his name.
Ross Olshansky.
Ross Olshansky.
I think so too. I think Flagrant Fouls, I think at this point we're going undefeated.
It's just a very smart quarterback. It's really
Smoke and Axel versus Wolfpack.
Wolfpack. No, there's just no question about this one.
I agree. Final thoughts.
So when you're getting ready for your game, right? There's certain things you can do to pump yourself up, right? Don't drink that Bob Marley. There's a Bob Marley drink I bought the other day. It has like chamomile extract.
3 months now. It's not the other day anymore. You know that, right?
And I know I should know by now, but it's delicious. It's delicious, and I figure it's an energy drink, and there's so much sugar, but it's legit. I looked it up on Wikipedia today because I didn't believe it before. I thought it was conspiracy, but chamomile extract actually puts you to sleep. So don't drink that before a game.
Fair. This is my Thursday lesson plan. I just want to touch on something real quick. It's actually fairly serious, so the show will take a serious tone for the first time all season. During a game this week between Tigers and the Minge, a player grabbed Matt Young from behind and punched him in the face.
Fisticuffs. Fisticuffs ensued.
Absolutely. I'm being serious though. And the player is currently facing suspension. We don't know how long it'll be.
Why did he punch him for?
Well, they got in each other's faces, but the reality is there's never a reason to punch a guy in the face. On a post on the wall on our Facebook group this week regarding a similar incident, a player who I have a lot of respect for, Nathan Taylor, said, come on, we are men after all. That's my point. Let's be men. Let's not act like children. There's no place for this. So in my opinion, players like that are not welcome in this league. It's time to grow up. It's time to start being responsible. It's time to make FPF as great as it's always been.
We also work the next day, so
Absolutely.
we don't want to go in with bruises.
But even if we didn't, there's never a reason, there's never a context, unless it's boxing, to punch someone in the face. Deez, thanks for joining me on the show. Thanks for the wonderful entourage who has joined us throughout the show. Eagle, thanks for all the work you've done. Although, please step it up for the Div3 podcast. I am Pease Delariz, wishing you an awesome week of football. I didn't have a sign off.
Football!
Football!
Washington.